Fallout has been making some large waves over the internet, so I decided to park my toasted end on the couch and force myself to watch all 8 episodes to tell you wonderful folks of the internet if it's worth watching. So buckle up and let's find out if it's worth a journey to the wasteland, or maybe you'd be better off watching Sony's Madam Web, now available on stream.
Everyone wants to save the world, they just agree on how.
There you are.
Before continuing on, please check out my new channel, Movie Tots. Pop Tot and I are reviewing films that bombed at the box office and received poor reviews. It's been a total blast, ranging from films like Tango and Cash to G.I. Joe. Come subscribe, hang out, and enjoy.
Practically every person I've met up here has tried to kill me.
I'm simply going to harvest your organs.
You need to go home.
Fallout is the latest action-adventure series now streaming on Amazon Prime. The show starts off with us following vault dweller Lucy, who must search for her father after he mysteriously leaves the vault. Unbeknownst to her is what awaits: the wasteland, ravaged by nuclear destruction that is filled with humans and creatures who have created their own rules to survive. Like many, the Fallout series is one of my favorite game series of all time. I've logged hundreds of hours across the vast games, excluding the infamous Fallout 76 that I might play one day. I was delighted but cautious when Amazon greenlit the show. Things changed when I heard Jonah Nolan would be attached, the brother to Christopher Nolan, who had various writer and show creator credits under his belt.
Your version of playing one of the games would be totally different than my version.
Right.
And what that opens up, one, it makes for an incredibly engaging game, one that I played through, but wound up kind of obsessed with Fallout 3, which is the first time I'd experienced the franchise.
The first season of Fallout is ironically a breath of fresh air. Numerous video game adaptations have come out over the years, specifically television, that have left plenty of people divided. Fallout, without a doubt, will unite almost all the fans with its faithful adaptation to the deep lore. The world of the Wasteland is nailed down aesthetically, from the Vault-Tec vaults to the ghouls that roam it. It is one of, if not the only times I've ever watched a video game adaptation and actually felt like I was in that world. Great attention to detail went to designing the world faithfully, including great use of sets, prosthetics, and special effects. Beyond the aesthetic is nailing the insane tonal balance that Fallout presents. At times, the game can be atmospheric survival horror, the spooky cave that has some sort of mutant creature awaiting. Other times, it can be tongue-in-cheek hilarious.
We all know that, Jet. Messing around with your cousin, it's all well and good for kids, but it's not a sustainable long-term sexual practice, you know?
Dialogue between various characters can leave you just bursting out laughing.
Get that jelly mold out of here!
Beautiful music will pour through your speakers, channeling you back to the 50s and this feeling of serene safety that comes across you.
Send me off forever, but I ask you please.
Then, moments later, a devastating action sequence has raiders getting ripped in half.
Now.
Fucking vault dwellers.
The show balances it out wonderfully, almost reminding me of that scene from Spider-Man where Peter Parker had to balance all that crap on his lunch tray.
You need to go home.
Its ensemble cast is pretty well balanced, each with a story that coincides well with the overall narrative arc, as well as each other character. Lucy is this wet behind the ears, bug-eyed, and sees the world in this propaganda-shaped view the Vault has created.
You've been brought up in a meritocracy where people pride themselves on doing the right thing.
Ella Purnell does justice to the character, and watching her descend in this world is a painful journey. On the opposite end is someone like the Ghoul, played by the always scene-stealing Walton Goggins.
God damn, Raylan, your timing sucks!
He sees the Wasteland as what it is, an advantageous, dangerous place to always watch over your shoulder. It's a dog-eat-dog world, and the show presents that time and time again.
Ah, you get
Like shipwrecked men turning to seawater from uncontrollable thirst. Many have died trying.
Aaron Moten's Maximus is another interesting character, a squire for the Brotherhood. He's quite the unconventional main character, a coward who wants to be a hero with a horrific backstory. In a lot of ways, his story feels really what Finn should have been from Star Wars.
Even if it means giving my own life, I'll do it.
It's always a worry of mine with shows that have large ensemble casts that reach vast distances that some stories might be less important or not just entertain me as much. Fallout has this weird way of just crippling you with this disgusting wasteland, only to journey back to a vault and remind you that there's these people just blindly going about their day in the silliest way.
You ran a great campaign.
I know. Must have put 10 posters up.
It all works so damn well. The first season is packed with 8 episodes, and I mean packed. I've heard from various fans the want for this or they want this to be in. I'll honestly say, I'm not sure how that would have worked. If the show is going to suffer from any sort of flaw, it's that it has a lot to unpack. For fans of the show, which granted, it's safe to say this is probably catered for, it's not a big deal. But further time spent on how the Brotherhood of Steel operates, for example, would have been nice. Another silly nitpick is the show has this massive atmosphere, much like the games, but characters will often run into each other as if they were down the road. Again, super nitpicky, but if you've watched my channel long enough, you know I'm capable of doing such. The first season has tons of twists and turns built into the storyline. However, I do feel a good amount of them can probably be guessed by Fallout fans, and in turn, I can feel some faithful fans might find the last episodes not as hard-hitting as the first few. And it's worth mentioning, not really a nitpick, but should be mentioned that the series is pretty graphic. Violence doesn't bother me, but gore can. However, Fallout, much like the video games, often has this way of portraying it in a way that almost feels cartoony. And in a way, I guess my brain was just able to separate it and just enjoy it. Just had to note it for those that might not be a huge fan of gratuitous violence. I went into the first season cautiously optimistic. As it stands, I feel like a lot of my childhood and teenage years have been brutally abused for content. However, Fallout is proof that you can do something like this right with the right minds and right talent. The moment you sweep through the halls of the vault, hear that old-timey music, and see those blue jumpsuits, you just feel transported into that world. After each episode, I got this gigantic itch to play the games. It almost felt like whenever you see sports players play a game, you just want to go out and imitate that. I felt that need to explore the wasteland through Fallout. Not many things can make that happen, but this series succeeded. I watched along with Miss Tot, who had zero knowledge of the series, and she enjoyed it from top to bottom. The closest comparison she could make was something like Lost, with each episode unraveling a mysterious plot point that kept you engaged, just dying to watch more. Honestly, fans of the series will enjoy watching this, unless you're looking for a reason not to, and people dying for something new to watch will enjoy it just as much. You cannot go wrong, and as I write this review, my biggest grief is that I have to wait at least a year for another season. Well, I guess it's time to go journey through the wasteland once more. I'll see you tots on the next one.